Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Excalibur Data Systems Roundtable Tech Talk. I am Mike Fuson. This is part of our extended Tech Talk series with our friends from Halo. Tom Petley is joining me today. Tom, thanks for joining me.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me back, Mike.
Absolutely. It's always fun to get together and talk Halo and all of the fun things you guys are doing. And one of the topics that we've been talking about with a lot of customers recently is automations, leveraging your Halo solution to be able to automate certain activities within the organization, whether that be via one of the integrations or other automations that Halo offers. Tell us a little bit more about what you're seeing out there and what you guys are have been seeing with automations in Halo.
Yeah, I think automation is one of those topics where kind of everyone loves the idea of it. Everyone kind of think, oh, we can automate kind of all my work, kind of take away those mundane tasks. But in reality, people don't do that often because I don't know if they're scared of it or if they're worried it takes too long or anything like that. So for me, you got to be clear about what you're trying to automate, which part of it, because there is different automation means different things to different people. So just a few examples, kind of away from the traditional kind of automation stuff. I'd say a good example is automating the triage process. You could automate the assignment, very, very straightforward, based on the categorization and the service that's impacted. You can automate that and you can take away that triage step and you can automatically assign it to the right person. That's a really kind of tangible win. That saves a lot of time. It goes to the right person. You've got a proper process there. And yeah, it sounds very basic, but it's something that not a lot of companies don't often do. It's something people kind of steer clear of because the word automation sounds really scary or too complicated. You then got other elements of automation, which is, for me, things like kind of on an onboarding request, kind of automating the generation of different tasks. And that's something that's really important as well, because you can then have multiple different people working on this task at the same time. You can have that whole process structured in there and create that transparency with the users as well. And also those tasks are different teams as well. So if you are using it in that enterprise service management capacity, you can have your HR teams working on tasks, you can have your IT teams working on different tasks and all that kind of stuff. And then the kind of moving it further to the, I'd say, more complex layers of automation are when actually those tasks get automated. So when you automatically create those users in AD, or if an access request, they automatically get access added to an AD group or something based on maybe an approval or something like that. So that's all different kind of components. And what I say to people when they're looking at automation is you don't have to do it all at once. It's something that you can start. You can start with creating a manual task, and you can kind of start to automate the actual kind of orchestration or say of those tasks as well. Is that kind of similar thing to you're finding, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen it over time start to get extended as organizations, just as you described. They kind of crawl, walk, run, fly, right?
Yeah.
As they build those things up, and what we've seen with a few of our customers is they've done things like building standard configurations for servers, and it could be a VMware environment, it could be a Hyper-V environment, and they've got core standard organizational configurations that are already built, already locked down, already secured, and that's a kind of a level. They take it, they get that done, right? And you think about that, that's kind of an automation because now the server person isn't going out and building the server. They're going out and going ahead and using that template and saying, spin this thing up, and here's what I want to call it. And then from there may be some tweaking depending upon the particular application. But you can have a server stood up very, very quickly. It doesn't, it doesn't necessarily have to go through as much of vetting because the template's already been vetted. And then we see organizations start to move to, okay, now we're going to have a request type of request a server.
Yeah.
And if that request is approved, it's going to kick off an automatic initiation to have VMware spin that server up. because
Mhm.
we've got certain information that we've asked for them to provide.
Mhm.
That's all been vetted and approved, and then now the server engineer doesn't have to go spend that up. And I think automation's what scares people sometimes is, oh my gosh, um, that's part of my job.
Yeah.
And I think what we really see, or we see high performing organizations doing, is that they're taking those mundane tasks, those things that are really, in my mind, time sucks, right?
Mm.
Like I'll take a automation that we've been doing for years. Mailbox size increases,
Okay.
right? It's an example I use all the time when this type of conversations come up.
Mhm.
When you think about it, there are occasions where somebody needs to request a larger mailbox because maybe as the system is out there, you've limited mailbox sizes,
Mhm.
and they're hitting that mailbox limit for one reason or another. Now, you can have a request process that goes through, and they give their reasoning for why I need a bigger mailbox, and if that's approved, the mailbox size can be increased. Now, those of us that have played with Exchange, it's not super hard. We could give a set of instructions on a piece of paper of how to increase a mailbox size. It's not difficult, but it's going to take you 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how well the interface is responding, to go through and do that. Or you dig into your little bag of tricks and you have the PowerShell code already written, and you just pop a couple things in and increase the mailbox size.
Mhm.
It's not hard. It's something the Exchange guys can do, but they may get in a larger organization 2 or 3 or 10 of these a week.
Mhm.
And each and every one, they've got to stop whatever else it is they're doing, go over and do this, shift. Now that that's done, go ahead and complete the request out, and then move on to whatever else it was they were working on. When you start to take these everyday mundane things that can really be scripted, in this particular instance,
Mhm.
PowerShell scripts abound for doing all kinds of changes in Exchange. Exchange is always a kind of a place to start.
Yep.
Now it's only going. They only have to interact with it if it kicks out one because it returned an error code.
Mm.
And it's going to kick about 1 out of every 100
Yeah.
back because it's
That's one of
Microsoft.
yeah. It's one of those kind of key integrations that people do with Halo is that PowerShell integration.
Hmm.
Because people often have those scripts already written, which they run
Hmm.
manually, like you say, pop in a couple of parameters and kind of run it, and it goes away and does it. What you can do actually is have the users fill them out. They might pick a drop down, pick their mailbox, pick an option for the size increase, and suddenly we've got that information already there.
Hmm.
You can have a validation process as part of that approval as well. But once that's hits the approval button, goes off and runs that script, pass those parameters in, brings that back the code, the success or the failure, and then if it's success, you can often just have it automatically close off because you don't need
Exactly.
to do anything. It's done.
Exactly. And so when I hear that fear come out, wait a minute, this is part of my job.
Mm,
Yes, but if we give you more time to do the planning and your analysis and the other things that are more key to
yep.
your job. I mean, I've talked to Exchange admins, for I go back to the days we Office 365 wasn't even in Microsoft's in their vision at that point. And back in those days, when an upgrade would come out, the administrators would constantly be playing catch up. And so one of the things when you look at automations, when you talk about folks that are in an IT department, so often we're pretty much firefighters. We come in and we react to things that are there. And when you start to look at automations, you're able to take certain things that are repeatable, the same process every time, build them into a process, and then make them proactive. So somebody requests it, it's approved, it gets actioned, and then closed. And no IT person had to go in and touch that. They're able to focus on the other thing because I think everybody that I know in most IT departments, there's never enough time in the day for everything that's going on. And we all need to set aside time to do some training. We need to set aside time to keep our certifications up. There's all these things that we need to do to keep, to continue to help us help the organization be effective. And when you start to leverage automations, you start to be able to move some of those more mundane tasks. Again, things that are not hard to do, but they are time consuming. We start to add up all the time. The time savings can be quite significant in letting folks, being able to let folks, be it a server engineer or be it the email team or what have you, focus on the other tasks that they need to do that are not things that are as easy to make a repeatable process.
Yeah, I always think that the more proactive things you can do rather than the reactive things the organization is going to be in a much better state for that, because you're doing things you actually decide to do, you want to do, it's going to make everything better. And the more time you spend reacting to requests and things like that, then the less time you're able to spend on those things you actually want to spend time on.
Exactly. So, to the folks watching, reach out. Tom and I'd love to talk to you about different ways we can use the HaloITSM platform to automate things within your environment. And as Tom noted, it can really be a crawl, walk, run sort of scenario where you kind of start to stage things and you get your process down, and you know that it's now going to be repeatable, and then shifting that to a fully automated function becomes much easier. But basic automation within Halo gives us the ability to capture that particular data which is needed, which makes the person executing its job that much easier. And then moving it to a fully automated way, can bring additional value, certainly to the organization, and let you get the real, as Rob Gauguin from our team would say, is the juice worth the squeeze? This is definitely worth the squeeze. We've seen it over and over when people start to leverage this. Once that automation effort starts going and we've scripted all this stuff off, they're looking at what else can we do? Because, oh my gosh, this has now made things a lot smoother. Certain things are getting done more quickly because they're automated, and we don't have to have somebody start their activities to automate them. So reach out to the team here at Excalibur. We'd love to share Halo with you, and get on the phone with Tom or one of his cohorts at Halo, and let's take you through the wonderful things that Halo can do. Tom, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Yep. And to everyone out there watching, stay tuned as we continue to explore the power of HaloITSM.